What is happening, people, and welcome to today's video where I want to cover with you guys 5 key but maybe a little bit hard to hear truths that I wish someone had told me 30 years ago when I started this whole mess, and I don't want to waste any time. So the very first one is that consistency is the king of virtually all progress. If you want to learn how to speak Swahili, you better get more reps. If you want to be better at math, get more reps. Virtually any talent, skill, or ability that you want is waiting for you right on the other side of a whole lot of hours of consistent and mindful practice. And you better believe that strength is a skill that needs to be practiced a lot, but you can't sit around and just do a ton of heavy squats all day long or your body's going to break down. So that means every single time that you touch a barbell, dumbbell, kettlebell, or whatever strength implement that you are using, it needs to be mindful, consistent practice. You need to think to yourself about your form, your technique, your cues, because you're either ingraining good reps or you're ingraining bad reps, but whatever you're doing more of is what is going to stick. You cannot just blow through your workouts and just get through it because you don't feel like doing it. Every single rep that you do needs to be mindful if you want to be great. The second hard but very, very true thing about lifting that you need to know is that there is no correct or right way to get to your destination. There are a million different paths that are going to work for a million different people. So please stop. Stop searching for the perfect program, the perfect coach, the perfect rep range, the perfect rest time. All of that does not matter. It's about doing the basics, doing them well, and doing them over a long period of time. If you do that, you'll be shocked at your stuff. Do not get too caught up in the weeds. And while you're at it, benefits virtually every single person to do some cross training into some other disciplines. If you're a powerlifter, spend some time doing some bodybuilding. If you're a bodybuilder, spend some time doing some strongman. Just try the different things and see how it works, because at the end, you will have a much more well-rounded picture of a physique as well as an idea of what is best for you, your body, your wants, and your goals moving forward in longevity in this sport. The third very hard truth that might be a little bit hard to swallow is that all of this is going to take a lot longer than you think. None of you are going to gain 30 pounds of muscle over the summer unless you grow 8 inches taller. Virtually anything that you do of worth is going to take longer than you think. If you want to learn how to play a beautiful violin song, guess what? It's going to take you longer than you think. If you want to be a DIY guy and replace that sink in your bathroom, trust me, it's going to take you longer than you think. If you want to lose 30 pounds of fat, it didn't show up overnight, it's not going to disappear right away. If you want to gain a bunch of muscle, it's going to take a lot of time. In fact, most of the instances where you see an individual walking down the street towards you and you're like, wow, that person has a great physique, I bet they really spent a decent amount of time on it. It's not like anyone ever just shows up and is like, oh yeah, you know, I picked up weight and like 2 weeks later I look like this. What you are seeing is 10 to 15 years of hard, consistent effort where they were making more good decisions versus bad decisions, which brings me to point number 4, which is that you cannot out-train a bad decision. I know everyone has heard you can't out-train a bad diet, and that's very, very true. If you want a really ripped six-pack and you want to eat large pizzas every single night of the week, those two things are not really going to match up that well. But there are plenty of other bad habits that you could have as well. Like you tend towards laziness and you don't finish all your volume work, or you skip reps at the end of your workout, or you choose screens over sleep at the end of the day, or you go out on the weekends with your buddies and you end up binge drinking all weekend long. All those things are going to add up to the end column of what body you end up with, what health, what fitness, whatever it is that you're training for, what you end up with. So when you're doing things, you need to start making mindful decisions of better habits and keep them in your life for long periods of time, so you don't need to constantly be getting in these fights over yourself. You're just a person who doesn't do those bad things anymore, and that will add up to great things. If you want to be your best, you need to get good habits in your life now, because you can't out-train them. And finally, hard truth number 5 is that sometimes doing too much can be just as detrimental, if not worse, than not doing enough, because we live in a society where we're all just force-fed with a fire hose about all the things that we should be doing for our health by all these different gurus. And if you listen to everyone, then you'll be waking up at 4:49 every single morning with the southeastern sun directly shining on your face, so that it would hit your prefrontal cortex while your feet are bare on the ground before you take your 31.6 degree ice bath. But it can't be within an hour of your training, or else it's going to hurt your recovery. If you just listen to all the minutia, you are going to get so lost. It's not about that. It's about following the basics and doing them well and doing them a very, very long time with good habits. If you put all that together in 5, 10 years, 15 years, you are going to be amazed at your progress. But if you get so lost in the weeds, searching for the perfect program, doing all the things right that the gurus tell you to do, trust me, that's all distraction, trying to sell you things, trying to get you to do other just random stuff to make their social media following grow. And then there are some of you who need to hear that you can't have 50 conflicting different goals all at the same time. I'm not talking about a little bit of running mixed in with your lifting. I'm talking about the people who want to do an ultra marathon runner plus be a pro bodybuilder on the side of winning the CrossFit Games and also doing their jujitsu and their yoga and everything else, right? Like Musashi said, master one thing and then you can become a master of all things. So if you're new to this game, focus on one of the disciplines for at least a couple years. But it's gotta be something that you enjoy so that you will stick with it. Just know that your progress is gonna be linear, there are gonna be bumps on the road, but it's really about just making good choices more often than bad choices for a long enough period of time. If you stick with the basics, a good program by a good coach that you will enjoy and you will actually continue to do is really all that you need. And past all that, is a lot of noise. So I thank you guys so much for all of the ways that you do support me. If you guys have spent any money over at neverstate.com within the last, I guess, about week, then you're automatically entered in a drawing for $500 that's coming up in a couple weeks with Barbell Apparel. I thank you guys so much for all the shares, all the likes, all the subscribes, all the attention, just everything that you guys do to continue to make this a possibility for me. So I will catch you later in the week. Until I do go out something amazing with you guys, keep working hard, people. Be nice to each other. I'll see you then.